All right, here we are on another session, day 6 out of 21 days in September. I am pumped up, excited again. As much as I felt sluggish earlier and tired earlier, I'm still pumped up. It just came to my mind something in the nature of changing the narrative. I don't know, I just received that like 30 seconds ago. All right, changing the narrative. So in the sense of if there's something that's hitting the plateau, something is the same old same, the results around the community is the same old saying, okay, that's just another car accident, okay, that's just another shooting, okay, that's just another fight, whatever it is. You be the one to change the narrative of what you want to see, what the community should be, because you have the confidence in what that looks like. Okay, now if there's doubt in your mind right now, get that doubt out your head. That's just doubt. Okay, fear, get that fear out your head. What they say, the acronym of fear is false something appearing real, false evidence appearing real. I think that's what it's called, on fear. So right now, this used to be a fear for me. Set the whole lights, hit and record, exercising in front of whoever's watching. That used to be a fear for me. I know for me, I wanted to see results on my body, and also I want to hear other people results. And if they're working out, also, if you're working out, I want to hear your results. Right? So I'm changing the community, the narrative of what I appreciate the community should be. All right, which is fitness, which is hearing each other out, different perspectives, could be able to learn from each other, and also build and reach a level where not everybody was left behind. You know, a lot of conscious people, a lot of people that is like on the same page on this drive of a better community. Okay. Now, I haven't mentioned it before, but I take time to mention it now, that I created something called Something to Compare To, which is the channel, the YouTube channel, Something to Compare To, because during the pandemic, I didn't know social media played a part, but I think I was still living a decent life during the pandemic. Decent meaning, you know, probably went out to the movies, probably did something small that, I don't know, for some reason I got messages from a friend saying, hey, let me borrow 20 bucks. Okay, there's nothing wrong with borrowing 20 bucks, but at the end of the day, is it possible for me to educate you on how I got this $20? You know, from the jump, the message didn't go straight off the bat. Normally when somebody's asking for $20, that's all they want to know. They just want to know if they could borrow it, yes or no, leave it as so. But I know for me, upon experience, when someone is borrowing money, they will end up borrowing it again. And when they borrow it again, it's possible they're going to borrow it again. It may not be you, but it might be somebody else and somebody else. It's an ongoing process of borrowing and not really getting down to the idea of, okay, how much money do I really need to make so I don't have to borrow again? Okay? So there's no shame or condemning someone that's really borrowing money. It's just, that's just hard times. So something to compare to now is a sense of, all right, I'm working just like anybody else working. I'm looking at my financial sheet as if anybody else should be looking at their financial sheet. You know, my credit score years back used to be in the 580. Now I could confidently say my credit score is over 700. You know, the work it took to get from the 500 up to the 7, the discipline. Discipline was a key word. So what was pretty interesting on that story now, on someone borrowing $20, it was like, okay, I give you the $20, but can you promise me that if you ask again, I educate you on how to, you know, how to set up a budget, so you don't have to ask money again. The person declined. They declined the knowledge. I thought that was a little hilarious that, you know, you're going to get knowledge, intellectual property. And that means once it's in your mind, somebody educated you on how to do it, no one can take that away from you. So I thought that was pretty interesting that, okay, boom, money was sent. And then it's a possibility, hey, what's up? How you been? You don't have to pay me back the $20, but let's go over your financial plan, like what you got going on. Don't, you know, mute, gone. Never heard from the person again. So no hard feelings. You know, it's just a matter of like, I know there's somebody out there that's probably short $50, probably short $100. Why you think they have cash advance places, $500 cash advance? Because they know you might be short on money. They know. So now, if you are planning ahead, at least 2 months planning ahead on your budget plan, on your budget, you know exactly, okay, I emotionally like this job, but I can't afford to continue working at this job because the way this money thing is set up, I got to find a newer skill. Okay, and that's where I'm at in my life. So when I'm sharing this, not just to be, not hypothetical, yeah, hypothetical or a hypocrite. Yeah, I don't want to be a hypocrite. Where I'm at in my life is like, okay, I'm looking at these numbers, and to project to the future now, I can't be at this job no longer than a year. I got to pull out this job in a year. This is my goal. No matter what happens, I gotta leave this job because at this point I need to be making this much from the new skill I'm learning, so at least I could take care of the bills. It could take care, not just feeding myself. I like to feed, you know, my significant other. I don't have kids yet. I look forward to feeding kids. You know what I mean? So it's like I gotta get on the ball game. All right. So, just to conclude on something to compare to channel, yeah, we working out, yeah, we getting fit, you know, but the point is that as I reach my abundance, there's no need for me to continue looking for the next best thing. The next best thing is to help others. All right, and I'm saying that on day 6 out of 21 days on the in September. Okay, I hit my mark that, okay, I'm good financially. Not what's in the bank account, like I could understand the numbers. Okay, I hit, okay, I could take care, go to work, take care of the bills. Yeah, this is how much I have left over for the month. Okay, I could exercise, you know, do the best I can. At least the workout is not too extreme that at least others could work out. So I just hit a nice mark that could now spread the information in confidence because it's based off experience. It's based off of my experience. I don't have to get certified. I repeat, I do not have to get certified to share my experience. I mean, your results may be different. That is true. But I don't need no approval certification to share my experience amongst others that may help somebody else out. Okay? So I'm gonna get started on the exercise. It just came to me once again, the whole narrative situation, you know, be able to shift the narrative to your standards. All right, if your narrative is yelling, arguments, provoking conversation, pissing people off, that is your environment. That's what you're choosing to be around. But if you say, you know what, I'm not here for this, you got to stay disciplined to change it because it's still going to challenge you. There's still going to be arguments happening. We are human beings, but you got to change the narrative and say, look, this is not who I am. I'm the opposite for whatever that environment is. Okay, I'm speaking vague. This is not directed to personally directed to anybody. I'm just speaking generally. Okay, so we're gonna get started on the exercise. That was an interesting intro, by the way. Day 6 out of September. Day 6 September. 6 days out of 21 days. We're gonna get into the stretch. 30-second stretch. 1 minute jump rope. The 20 lunges on each side, which is 40. 20 push-ups. 20 diamond push-ups. 20 wide push-ups. All right, we have 50 leg raises, 50 in and out laying down, 2 sets of 30 seconds. Oh yeah, 2 sets, 30-second plank. Hello. 2 sets of 30-second plank on each side. The bird dog. Remember just to get your foot off the ground just a little bit, your back foot off the ground. Make sure your back is not too much arched or bent. Keep it straight. And for every 10 seconds, bring the fist to the knee. Okay. And credits on that workout goes out to Squat University, their YouTube channel. All right. 2-minute jump rope and 6 rip right. So we're about to get started. What's playing in the background is Joseph Rodrigues. This is day 6. Tomorrow's gonna be a light workout. I'm gonna have something very simple, less than 30 minutes, less than 20 minutes on the workout. Just straightforward, so at least we get through that workout, all right? And then it's gonna be another set of abs, another abdominal. Might be doing burpees, might be doing the ab roller. Don't know this yet, all right? Listen in the background is Joseph Rodrigues. Let there be flow. All right, I'm so pumped up right now. Let's get started.
In further discussion to Sunday's video, as well as last Thursday's video on transmutation, which is the alchemical art of surrender to the mental state to express accordingly, fear into courage as inspired by The 50th Law by 50 Cent and Robert Greene, which is a book on practical mental alchemy, as well as the Kabbalion by the 3 Initiates. We recognize that emotions deserve a sympathetic listen so we can understand what these fears reveal rather than condemning them. The great work in mental alchemy, which then can be expressed as the arts, sciences, innovations, you name it. So today we're going to discuss this further and add this to the Flow series. And this conversation is inspired by Oliver Spendley. So Oliver very much enjoys these videos, and he listens to these videos while he performs his great work expression, which is building furniture. So I'm going to put a link in the description to his Instagram. And he so graciously gifted a piece, which I placed in today's thumbnail. I actually have it hanging up on my wall, which is entitled Float in Focus. So he sent it to me. He's based out of UK. And now I have this beautiful artwork which he created, which I can reflect upon and inspire me, because I believe that artists express the thumbprint of the degree of realizing the great work within, the reconciliation within. And through reflecting upon art, I experience deeper inspiration. And it further inspires us to also express accordingly. So looking at his website here, Oliver's work is focused around, he says, co-creation with nature and the timber that he chooses to use. Now, him and I had a conversation about his process, very fascinating. He's very much in harmony with the idea of seeing the inner as real as the outer and allowing the fusion of internal and nature to fuse together to allow in harmony a creative expression. So this approach manifests in one-of-a-kind furniture and artwork for the environmentally conscious client, collector, fusing nature into our homes. I'll put a link in the description to his Instagram. I recommend checking out his profile. So thank you very much, Oliver, for sending me your piece. I will cherish it greatly, because I believe what we experience as we enjoy somebody's artistic expression, be it a piece like this or the performing arts, is a revelation of who they are, but also inspiration for us to do the same in regards to our definite chief aim, goals, visions, etc. As was further inspired by the Emerald Tablets, in which it stated that the light within reflects upon the tablets and reveals the meaning. So thus, when we're experiencing art, we are reflecting upon it psychologically, symbolically, and it awakens something within us. It reveals to us the power of our mind, imagination. Now let's discuss this by relating over to this quote here from the Master Key System. He says, Nikola Tesla, he with the great intellect, one of the greatest inventors of all ages, the man who has brought forth the most amazing realities, always visualizes his inventions before attempting to work them out. He does not rush to embody them in form and then spend his time in correcting defects. Having first built up the idea in his imagination, he holds it there as a mental picture to be reconstructed and improved by his thought. In this way, he writes in The Electrical Experimenter, I am enabled to rapidly develop and perfect a conception without touching anything. When I have gone so far as to embody in the invention every possible improvement I can think of, and see no fault anywhere, I put into concrete form the product of my brain. Invariably, my device works as I conceived it should. In 20 years, there has not been a single exception. So this is what happens as we express while we are in flow. So I'm going to add this video here to our flow series, and we're going to focus more on this part here, harmony between challenge and skill. Here are important parts in regards to flow. Number 1, a clear vision. Number 2, immediate feedback. Number 3, harmony between challenge and skill. Number 4, actions and awareness become one, which then facilitates identification with fear, doubt, and indecision tapering away, and even time and space being altered as a person becomes autotelic with their creative expression, with their process of innovation, as an entrepreneur with your service, while building your product, while servicing your client. All of this is an expression of mind. And the degree that we do this represents the degree of reconciliation within, of seeming differences, removing conflict out of mind, making peace, we could say, with what goes on within. We discussed this by reflecting upon the Kabbalion last Thursday, in which we spoke of the principle of polarity. And so let's get into discussion, a clear vision. As we work with this information, what we've been discussing over the months and years, we start to reveal a higher degree of vividness of imagination. And we can experience even more so what Nikola Tesla described. Certainly this has been my experience. I see the world of imagination to be as vivid and real as this five-sensory experience. And it really does become that way when I'm involved with a creative expression. For me, these videos, and even when I'm performing certain hobbies, such as snowboarding or any kind of activity, I'm noticing this more so. This wasn't the case before because I found that I was too biased and rigid in my ways of thinking. Too much condemnation and shame and identification with certain thinking patterns in relation to fear, in which through the journey I made peace with those thinking patterns, reconciled and found the true and accurate meaning in relation to the experience, blending the sixth sense with the five senses, seeing them as one. So we see in our imagination a clear vision, and we perform our activity, whatever it may be, the project that we're working on, the performance as a musician or an athlete, as we discussed in Sunday's video, the performing arts, which is actually surrendering to the vision realized. Now, harmony between challenge and skill and immediate feedback. Let's look at these. So, I mentioned the idea of flow breakers, as I call it, flow breakers. And the idea is that the thinking patterns in relation to what we're experiencing in the performance is what is causing the flow breakers. I've mentioned this many times. We could see reality from the place of love, flow, harmony, or we could see reality from the place of force, frustration, or various degrees in between. Whatever we believe to be true plays out as the theater of the journey on the way to realizing our vision or expressing creatively. So thus we want to understand what our thinking patterns are to the experiences that we have during our creative expression that seem to break our flow, recognizing that the flow breaker is within. And we have the opportunity to, in the moment, as we discussed in Sunday's video, understand that we are identifying with certain thinking patterns and surrender to the vision realized by recognizing that what we saw in imagination is the reality of what is being expressed through our work. And if a person has challenges doing this, I recommend working with the power of our subconscious mind to reveal the unconscious interpretations in regards to the experiences, which seems to break our flow, reconcile within ourselves, which then, when we make peace with these thinking patterns, we experience a heightened degree of flow. What this proves in equation is certain thinking patterns, beliefs, interpretations from within is expressing on the journey to realizing our vision. And it is causing either the flow or the flow breakers. And it can be revealed physically, emotionally, or a combination. Now, the emotion of fear, if we experience it in regards to what we're doing, such as a person doesn't feel like they're good enough to express how they truly want to express their art, or anything in relation to fear, whatever that meaning is, can be sympathetically understood and reconciled through love. This allows us to surrender in that moment when we see things from the perspective of love, as in I accept myself. I perform more like how I see myself in my vision. And eventually, as a person continues to encourage this uplifting, empowering, true and accurate inner conversations, inner dialogues, from the perspective of the vision realized, will actually be able to experience more flow as they work on their projects, their initiatives, etc. And they'll notice that it is easier to do what we discussed in Sunday's video, which is to surrender to the vision realized. Now, we identify flow breakers. We reflect upon the thinking in regards to the flow breakers. We could do this real time in the moment. We get better at it with practice. Or we can reflect upon it at the end of the day. And as we reflect upon it at the end of the day, we recognize that these interpretations seem to spawn, which a lot of times are revealed by our emotional reactivity. Thus, we understand to a deeper degree how we can transmute the fear energy into courage energy. We actually find within ourselves the true and accurate meaning by running through the revision process. Now, I'll put a link in the description to a video in which I explain the revision process and how I work with it to run through the events that occurred in regards to the flow breaker and see it for how it truly is, knowing that that information impresses the subconscious mind. And then when I go into the workshop or whatever it is that I'm doing to express again, I'm noticing that I'm expressing a lot more with ease, with flow, with love, and it feels effortless. Thus, our beliefs in regards to whatever it is we're experiencing each day on the journey to realizing our vision are externalizing as the experiences of life. We can imagine a force-based journey or a peace-based and various degrees in between, which is revealed by what we polarize to, or as we've been saying, what we unconsciously say I am to, in regards to the experiences which reveal our beliefs. The beliefs are playing out as theater, either encouraging the flow or breaking the flow. And we have the opportunity then, really, if we want to identify these thinking patterns. No need to shame, condemn, or resist fear within mind. Recognize the source within and understand, rather than encouraging the unnecessary force-based way which breaks the flow. Now, as a person does this, what they will notice is the actions and awareness becoming one, more so as they perform, as they work on their creative project. As an entrepreneur, as they lead others in conversations, they will notice a higher degree of sixth sense, sympathetic understanding of the experiences and others. And as a result, action and awareness become one. Identification with fear, doubt, and indecision tapers away. And the activity and person becomes autotelic. They notice that they are in the zone. Now, there are many degrees of flow. And what I always aim to do in these videos is to encourage the possibility, as I experience, to place yourself into the flow with whatever it is you're doing and get into this deep flow in which a person becomes autotelic. They surrender to the vision. And what I have found when I committed to making flow a priority in 2017 was, as Steve Jobs had discussed in his commencement speech, he said, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you want to become. Now, that part in the beginning, have the courage, it required me to understand the meaning that I'm giving to the different experiences. By understanding my fears, rather than running away from them, I would understand what it is within myself that I was unconsciously associating with, which seems to play out as these flow breaker experiences, externalized as environments, people, circumstances, etc. Have the courage, because your heart and intuition genuinely want to experience, sees reality the way it is in your mind's eye as the truth. And we allow it to express through our being. And if we experience any resistance, stress, frustration, it's important to observe our communication. Our communication in regards to those experiences, both with ourselves and others, reveals our beliefs. If a person really believes it's going to be a stress-based journey to creatively express, no need to shame or condemn. Encourage seeing things from a different perspective. Because what the mind is doing is the mind is expressing. So let's look at this further. We have the ability to create mental images. Mental images of ourselves that we identify with serve as a guide to which our future expresses, both on the journey and the destination. I value the entire spectrum. The desire to express, the vision in which it's stimulated in imagination in regards to the desire, the journey to realizing the vision, which has opportunity for making peace within ourselves, which then plays out as the theatrical experience of peace on the way to realizing the vision. And I also value the destination. So the desire, the vision, the journey, and the destination, I value all of them, and I see them as one. So when he says, make the pattern clear, do not be afraid, make it exactly what you want, remember that no limitation can be placed upon you by anyone but yourself. You are not limited as to any external cause or material. The infinite is your supply. Construct it in your imagination so it can be allowed to express through you. And I recommend reading the Master Key System. I've done a discussion on it. I'll put a link in the description. I focused on the exercises for revealing a heightened degree of vividness in imagination, which I trust will be very helpful. So let's zone in here. do not be afraid. Make it exactly what you want. Remember that no limitation can be placed upon you by anyone but yourself. You are not limited as to any external cause or material. That's something that we really want to meditate upon. Because the truth of this statement right here is that when a person has understood their fears, by essentially committing to a project or an activity and observing any flow breakers and understanding within myself what is breaking my flow. Used to be back in the days that I would blame the external. This person broke my flow, or this environment broke my flow, or this and that broke my flow. When I make peace within myself that it is my thinking pattern in relation to, all those things change. They change to reflect what's going on within. So on the journey to realizing a vision and the commitment to the project or activity in which prior to going into the activity, you get into the flow and then you maintain your flow during the activity. If the flow is broken, we want to understand our subconscious beliefs in regards to the experience that seems to create that experience. So he says one thing will lead to another. Thought will lead to action. Action would develop methods. Methods would develop friends. And friends will bring about circumstances. And finally, the third step, or materialization, will have been accomplished. So he says it in a very flow-based way. Like one thing will lead to the next. Some way, somehow, you get to the destination. You might not know how, but some way, somehow, it's going to work out. And to actually have this experience, this flow-based journey to the destination, upon realizing many goals and definite chief aims in my life, I recognize the importance of making peace with the different aspects of the journey. And so when we relate this to the activity of flow, okay, whatever it is, we have an opportunity. See, when you sit down and you work on your project, or you're practicing in the performing arts, or you're on stage, or you're in your workshop, you already have a clear vision, and we want to understand that that vision is being expressed through you. It's being expressed through you, and we allow it to express. This is what I mean by Sunday's video, surrender to the vision. And we find that it's easier to surrender to the vision, realize, and maintain, or I could say get into the flow, maintain the flow, and become autotelic when we, during that session, don't have any flow breakers or have very few flow breakers. Now, in the earlier stages, a person might have a lot of flow breakers, and so they experience more of a force-based journey to realizing the vision. But they can, if they would like to, understand these flow breakers and find these thinking patterns within themselves in relation to the flow breakers by working with the power of the subconscious mind. And I'll put a link in the description to the almost 2-hour video that I did on the power of the subconscious mind to help us with this. As we identify these thinking patterns, we change as far as thinking patterns go, what we identify with, what we say I am to, in regards to that experience. What we notice is that we find the flow in it. So the harmony between challenge and skill. So let's say a person is experiencing a challenge when they're expressing in public speaking. The challenge is interpreted as fear. These emotions are revealing their fear energy. Now, as a result of the unconscious, this is happening unconsciously, identification of the fear experience.
Another workout completed. It's like one of those feelings I know I'm getting stronger, but I remind myself how intense it is. It's very intense. So, the leg raises was a plus. I think I went 30 straight on the leg raises. Then I took 10 at a time, 10 reps at a time. And then I did the in and outs. So, man, that was a serious workout. And then the jump rope, as much as I want to push for the whole 2 minutes, I stopped at 1 minute and 30 seconds around there. So a little imperfection here and there, but at least I was able to get through. So there was a lot said on the intro. So on the closing thoughts is just be able to continue to be consistent. You know, there's really no big reason to change the course, all because things are getting familiar or reaching a plateau, because this is what I wanted. I wanted to go to work, pay bills, exercise, study. So that's what I'm doing, you know. There's no need for me to look out for the next big thing, next shiny thing. So I'm gonna just stay on path. It's a little bit mundane, but I know I'm having fun, you know, through this whole journey, appreciating each day during this journey. So with that being said, today was a peaceful day. Tomorrow's gonna be peaceful. Hope you guys take care. Until next time, peace.